it's not, I don't think it's going to be so much rage inducing. I'm honestly like really curious about this. So who all has heard about the whole thing with Riley CS? Um, like, no, Felix, I have not been following that. Like I said, I'm trying to stay off of, I'm trying to make a concerted effort to stay off of like social media and stuff like that. Hello, Viking Mox. Hi. Yes, it is, Mars. Yeah, it's alleged cheating. Like, this has been blowing up. And I will say alleged because I haven't dug too much into it. I know, like, a lot of people are just, like, reeing about calling her a cheater, saying, no, she's not a cheater, that people are only calling her a cheater because she's trans, and that there's actually no evidence of it, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of what I know about this. Yeah, EA didn't ban them, but Twitch did. Apparently, people brigaded Twitch and got Twitch to ban Riley CS. So, yeah, like, the thing, I feel like this whole thing has been blown extremely out of proportion. Rev has done a story about this. I'm hoping Rev has it consolidated somewhat, as to everything that's been going on. Like, there's been a lot of talk, and they did get unbanned. Okay, so, Rev's doing a story about this. I don't have a whole lot of information on it other than brief stuff I've seen in Twitter. So, let's see, let's see. Rev has probably got this all consolidated down to get us a good idea of what's going on. So, maybe Rev will have this proof, Alex. Maybe Rev won't. Maybe Rev will discount it. Let's find out. Shall we?
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here. So today we're dealing with a messy situation where a Twitch streamer is being accused of cheating in the Battlefield 6 beta, and after one of their tweets containing the footage went viral, people were accusing them of cheating. Eventually they were banned and unbanned on...
Oh, wait. Be careful, Rev. Calling Riley CS them as them apparently is misgendering her. Because, yes, I've seen tweets because apparently Dexterto basically, because Dexterto said there and did a they, yes, thank you. Because Dexterto put like a they or a there when referring to Riley, people were going like fucking crazy saying that Dexterto was misgendering Riley. It's like, this has gone shockingly insane on social media. It's like fucking nuts. Like, I guess behind the camera, behind the avatar, I guess Riley is biologically male, but she is transgender, and which is fine. And then Dexterto used there, and people were freaking the fuck out, like, you're misgendering her, it's a she, you're just doing it because she's trans, and it's like, just a fucking crazy-ass thing. So...
on Twitch, and now there's a big narrative shift over the past 24 hours, where now people are trying to accuse those who...
Oh, wait, hang on. Wombat, I'm going to actually address that because I think I can answer that. Were you saying kind of creepy, this guy is a little cat girl model, but sounds like a 30-year-old trying to sound like a teen girl without a voice changer? So, I do know from experience with other individuals that male to female trans individuals, they do try and soften and feminize their voice, and so and for some, they can do like voice lessons, and but the voice is like Riley's voice is what Wombat was commenting on, and to that respect, trans individuals we've rated a few of them where they try and do a feminine affect with their voice. Some of them are capable of doing it, some of them are not. Some of them each go through voice lessons. For some of them, the voice lessons may or may not help. But that's basically what it is that Riley is, trying to have a female affect because she's trans, and that, that's, I'm not going to disparage her for it because she can't help how her natural voice is. And, so I'm not going to criticize what her voice sounds like because that's something she was born with. And she's, and when you're talking about Blair White, well, maybe Blair White has a voice that naturally allows for feminine affect. That maybe she has taken voice lessons. It's, it's all depending on an individual, which is lateral from what we're discussing here. But that is something I wanted to address. Is like people will criticize female transgender individuals like that they sound like, as to quote you, as a 30-year-old trying to sound like a teenage girl. They're trying to they're trying to present that feminine affect, and their natural voice sometimes doesn't allow for it to come across well. And I'm not going to fault them for that.
Over the past 24 hours, where now people are trying to accuse those who allege that there was cheating involved as transphobes. And we're seeing people, including VTubers, being canceled for simply observing the situation or having something to say about it. Now, where does all this begin? Well, it begins with this Twitch streamer named Riley. In their location of their bio, you can see she, her, right? That'll be important for later. But they posted this montage of clips from the Battlefield 6 beta, and you can see it went viral, okay? 51 million views on a random tweet sharing footage like this with 4,700 comments. Now, if you go to the quotes, there is a narrative that is well supported by a lot of the most liked posts, where you have one saying this: imagine using aimbot and calling yourself a good player with this 2-second clip right here. This one getting 7,000 likes.
Okay.
We also have this right here saying obvious aimbot at 13 seconds. This tweet having 148,000 likes. And here is that specific timestamp. We'll play it for a second.
That's okay. Wow. You see where the reason why they're saying it's an aimbot is because they went from here, snapped, and immediately opened fire, and they're shooting the other player is behind the wall. So snap, and people are saying it's a flick. So they basically go from here, snap, and they're shooting at the wall, and they're saying it's aimbotting through this rock cropping here, and that's why people are calling it aimbot, because it snapped here, immediately started shooting, and look at that, right on target as soon as they kept it on target all the way through. So that's where people. That's where people are calling aimbot on that one, because I think this specific clip, at the 13-second mark of Riley's clip, is where they're calling aimbot. The snap is just too perfect. There's no deviation. It's rock steady the entire time, and it aimbots it targets another player behind a rock.
For a second.
Wow,
that's really the main part people are calling out right there. You can see this person saying, "Are we effing serious right now?" MF flicks to a guy behind a wall. Then the exact second that guy drops, as his gun is being lowered, it locks to the guy that was right next to him and even hits him all within a frame. You got me effed up if you think this is legit. Here's another one from the Act Man saying, "Posting gameplay of you cheating and pretending you aren't is one of the cringiest things a gamer can do." And then you have another one with 74,000 likes saying, in quotes, "I flicked that guy straight through the wall. Oopsie," end quote. Go F yourself.
That's one of the most common things I've been hearing is like for people defending, saying that Riley was just doing a flick, which is very common in FPS shooters. And I just double myself there, but FPSs. And it's just, the question is like, the flick was so rock steady. And I think that's why people were calling it. Plus, it was shooting through, through the wall. So that's where the defenders are saying, oh, this is just a gamer flick, and it's perfectly common. And then people are countering it with, yeah, they flicked to a wall that the other player was behind. And so that's where the two arguments are. I've been seeing the most are about this.
Now, of course, there's a very funny, like, side quest here where people were posting their own footage and saying, am I cheating too? Like this one right here saying, I'm curious if Twitter thinks I'm cheating too. And this would backfire because basically everyone would accuse them of cheating as well. Viral tweets like this going, yes, you are cheating. Those are not natural movements. Only someone
Wow. Sick. Anti. That last one? Whoa. Okay, watch that last
tweets
one.
Like this going, yes, you are cheating. Those are not natural movements.
That right there. And then, yeah, that doesn't look like a flick. I don't care how professional and locked in you are. When you do a flick like that, the chances of your crosshairs center massing someone after a flick like that is questionable, to say the least. Well, a Caucasian, this is someone else. This is not Wiley. This is someone else basically trying to say, oh, well, I'm curious to see if Twitter thinks that I'm cheating too, and then proceeds to do something that looks like they're cheating. At least, bearing in mind, I am not someone who has ever used aimbot. I'm not overly familiar with the mechanics or the tells of aimbot. But this looks too fucking perfect. Like, that literally just locked right on the person and stayed with them as the person's moving. Because the person was moving backwards and it stayed centered right on them.
Natural movements, only someone willfully blind would think you're playing legitimately. Now, they would eventually post another clip shortly after saying, used a hand cam to prove I'm not cheating. Can't wait for week 2 of the Battlefield 6 beta. And the same thing would happen. People would continue to accuse them of cheating. The people who thought they were cheating before pretty much doubled down and thought this was even more proof because they're claiming that the hand movements don't line up with what's being played out on the screen.
Wait. Hang on. Rev's kind of in the way. So the hand cam is right here. I thought I just saw something.
Pretty much
hang on.
Doubled down and thought this was even more proof because they're claiming that the hand movements don't line up with what's being played out on the screen.
Okay, hang on. Let me see if my eye... It's hard to tell because Rev's hair is a little bit in the way. There was something right here. That movement seemed a bit too significant for that hand movement. Although you know what? I can't say for sure because it could have just been wrist movement. And I'm not seeing arm movement. So I can't say, yeah, I'm not going to say anything one way or the other because I can't really tell because Rev's hair is blocking most of the hand cam.
Being played out on the screen. But we saw this comment. It would age very poorly where someone would tag Twitch support and say, hello, please ban this streamer for using aimbot. And then the streamer in question today would say, Twitch usually only bans people who are actually cheating for that.
Yeah.
Again, wouldn't age well because right after that, the next day, they would be banned on Twitch.
Okay, now, with this, is it because Twitch actually thought that they were cheating? Or because a fuck ton of people reported Riley and Twitch just said, fuck it, these many people are reporting, we'll just push the button, we won't even review the footage? Because that's a question, because Twitch may not have necessarily reviewed it and said, oh yeah, that is cheating. They just, Riley basically got brigaded with the Twitch reporting, and Twitch probably just went, fuck it, and pushed the button. It's not, this is not definitive proof that Riley cheated. This was Twitch just twitching it up as normal. So that's one thing I want to point out. This does not mean that Riley is guilty of cheating. This specifically, because Twitch is fucked with its bans anyway. So Twitch banning someone doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. And yeah, and Riley got unbanned. The last person that I can remember, someone from FaZe got banned for cheating. And if I'm not mistaken, the person who got banned for cheating got permabanned. So I think this is just mass reportings. Twitch did not review, and so they just said, well, a lot of people are reporting this, fuck it, we'll ban. That's the impression that I got.
And you can see this is a very simple headline here. Battlefield 6 cat boy cheater. The boy part will be relevant in a second. Banned on Twitch after going viral.
Yeah.
And you can see 52,000 likes on this. A lot of people were very...
No, it's not, Alex. It is not. And that's one thing I'm going to make clear. It looks suspicious, but at least to my untrained eye, I am fully admitting I have an untrained eye in regards to aimbots. It's not overwhelmingly definitive of cheating. It's suspicious, to be sure. What we from the gameplay footage that we saw, particularly that one where the target reticle snaps to another player that is behind a rock and immediately opens fire at first before they realize, oh, they're behind a rock, I better move over. It looks suspicious, but is not by any stretch definitive proof of cheating. And unfortunately, what I think has happened is we had a bunch of Twitter experts that basically go, it has to be cheating. It absolutely has to be, because it's too good. And that's basically their only evidence, not anything definitive, like they can recognize certain aspects of what is occurring to basically say, yeah, that's a characteristic of cheating, or that's characteristic of the aimbot. I recognize that specific little tiny detail that is not simply just snapping to a target. But most people don't know that, and so they're all just saying, oh, well, it's cheating. I will say, it is highly suspicious. That snapping to where the target is behind a rock and immediately opening fire after the snap is complete is suspicious. I'm not going to definitively say it's cheating or not. I will just say it's suspicious and leave it at that.
Be invested in this situation. And then we would see some of the more vicious response starting. And you would see this new narrative push that anyone who's recognizing this situation or accusing the streamer of cheating, there's this new accusation of transphobia, including
also
people
true,
who don't
Durahan.
respect even the cat.
That's what I was saying about with the hand cam was up. Rev's hair was also blocking it, so we couldn't. So all we could see was basically the forearm movement. We couldn't see the hand movement because unfortunately Rev's hair was blocking, and that's how I was like, I'm not gonna say because I can't actually see what her hand was doing.
New accusation of transphobia, including people who don't respect even the cat girl pronouns. You can see in response to that previous tweet we just looked at, this person says, blocking this account, but to go as far as saying cat boy when it's so obviously a woman is just a perfect example of how being trans gets you hate for no reason.
Oh,
the
God.
owner of Pirate Nation will be found in their apartment after weeks of decay on March 22nd, 2026.
Hey, what the actual fuck? Gumby, you dumb motherfucker. You just made a fucking death threat against an individual on fucking Twitter.
FBI, open up!
Whether or not Riley was cheating, regardless, I really do hope that Riley has called law enforcement or the FBI for this death threat. That is a legit fucking death threat right there. And I hope this account was reported, because I don't care how angry you are at someone you don't make a fucking death threat to someone because they might have cheated in a video game. Okay, this basically took a situation here, and you can't see my hand, but then they basically took it to 1,000. This is what happens when there's no consequences. People do this because they are not receiving consequences for their actions. Gumby here needs to be receiving consequences for their actions. You cannot post a death threat against someone in specific and not suffer consequences at all.
So this person's making a very obvious death threat, and they're doing this because the previous post labeled this person as a cat boy instead of a cat girl.
Yeah. Sorry. I said that they made a death threat against Riley. Sorry, my mistake. I tricked over myself there. No, they made the death threat against Pirate Nation. Sorry. Yeah, no. You're right. I got the names mixed up in my brain when I was saying that. Yes, is the threat was against Pirate Nation, not Riley. And I'm sorry, I hate to do this, but look at the profile picture. So I guarantee you, this person is a trans activist. It's judging a book by its cover, but this you can tell by the profile picture, this person is a trans activist. And we all know how I feel in regards to the activists. That Gumby is actually doing more harm to trans people than anything by making this death threat against Pirate Nation. Zeb, it may be okay. Oh, it's being blocked. So you can. There's you can tell based on the profile picture, because this is not like it's a other person picture. This person is transgender, which is fine. There's no problem with them being transgender, but they're activists based on this. Because Pirate Nation basically put Catboy in quotes. Well, Zeb, tell you what. Hang on. Let's find out. Right now. Was it GWAN _? I rest my case. Now, I'm not saying there is any issue with this person being trans. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not. But they are an activist. These are the words of an activist because they go to extreme rhetoric. Zeb, because you can tell. I'll because you can see it more clearly here than what I can see. The facial features and the facial shape is, if you know or have seen enough transgender individuals, there are certain tells in just the facial shape and the facial features that just stand out to you. And Gumby's just facial features and their facial shape stood out to me as trans. And again, this is not knocking them for being trans. I am not disparaging Gumby for being trans at all. I have no objection with Gumby being trans whatsoever. It's their activism death threats that I'm taking issue with. And bearing in mind, when Pirate Nation made the post and put Catboy in quotes, Pirate Nation was quoting other people. I'm reasonably sure with Pirate Nation's post right here, notice how it's in quotes. Pirate Nation was quoting other people that have been saying this. That's why it's in quotes.
Only an activist. I mean Sith, deals in absolutes.
Yeah. Well, yes, best man. Yes, they have the trans flag in the bar because they're transgender. Again, nothing. I have no issue with that. But because Pirate Nation was quoting other people, because this is what Pirate Nation, other individuals on Twitter were calling Riley a catboy cheater. Other people, not and Pirate Nation was quoting them. But Gumby decides to take this as Pirate Nation was calling Riley catboy and decided to make a death threat.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
This account, but to go as far as saying catboy when it's so obviously a woman is just a perfect example of how being trans gets you hate for no reason. The owner of Pirate Nation will be found in their apartment after weeks of decay on March 22nd, 2026. So this person's making a very obvious death threat, and they're doing this because the previous post labeled this person as a cat boy instead of a cat girl. They got the wrong cat pronouns. And now this person believes they should die as a result of...
And again, I'm going to point this out again. The catboy gamer was in quotes, meaning Pirate was quoting other people. Pirate was not on their own, and I say bear because I have no fucking clue if Pirate Nation is a male or female behind the Twitter account, was not calling Riley a catboy. They were quoting other people.
That. And you can see it didn't get much support. 8 likes, 242 comments, and celebrating for getting the attention they probably wanted. This person would reply saying, OMG, my first banger. Yes, you should be very proud. And they would make another follow-up saying, at the weirdos in my replies. You will cower in your hole until the day you die. Okay.
What?
This person definitely has a bit of a complex here. They're definitely projecting a bit.
And again, who is still doubting me when it comes to the activist thing? Anybody still doubting me on them being an activist? Anyone? Because it's the activists that are this fucking unhinged when it comes to anyone misgendering a trans person. They are the only ones that get this fucking unhinged. And, like, the funny thing is Riley probably when people are calling Riley a cat boy, Riley, at a guess, probably just kind of shrugged it off like people are just dogpiling on me. It's whatever. It's the activists who will go fucking nuclear about this. Yeah, and again, I should say this again. I should say this again. Normal, well-adjusted trans people...
This person traded points in intelligence for ranks in activism. A bad trade, in my opinion.
I will point this out again because it needs to be pointed out every time something like this comes up. Normal, well-adjusted trans people do not do this shit. Normal, transgender individuals, good night, Desdar, only want to just live their lives in peace and be treated like normal fucking human beings. Normal trans people do not go running around screaming about pronouns, screaming about being misgendered, screaming about, you have to recognize me and waving the transgender flag everywhere they fucking can. Normal transgender people are normal. Exactly, Zeb. That is what I'm trying to say. Normal transgender people are just, they are normal people and they want to be treated like normal people. The transgender men just want to be treated like a normal man. A transgender woman wants to be treated like a normal woman, nothing special beyond that. It's the activists who are screaming their lungs out saying, you have to recognize us, you have to acknowledge us, you have to see us. When normal transgender people are like, fuck no, we don't want to be quote unquote seen. We just want to live our normal fucking lives, and people like you are making that fucking impossible. For the umpteenth time, I will say again, activists are making people that are trans, is making their lives 1,000 times worse. All of these activists are making normal transgender individuals, it is making their lives 1,000 times worse. They are not helping him, they are hurting him, and they're actually setting basically a social acceptance of transgender people back by about 20 to 30 fucking years. That's what the activists are doing. They're actually setting trans people back from a social standpoint. People like Gumby are harming trans people. Gumby, you are not a trans activist, you are a trans terrorist. Because that is what you are doing. You are turning the general public against the normal trans people that want nothing the fuck to do with you and just want to live normal lives, and now you're getting eyeballs put on them that they don't want there because it's putting them in a spotlight that they have no desire to be a part of.
But anyways, eventually the Riley person would be unbanned on Twitch. It was about a 24-hour ban. And this is about the time you would see the Dexerto article that I showed at the beginning of the video. And this would cause a lot of controversy, people accusing Dexerto of being transphobic, and other people commenting on this of being transphobic if they continued to support the narrative that this person was cheating. But this is the headline: VTuber Riley CS has been banned from Twitch. Their Battlefield 6 clips had recently gone viral amid cheating allegations. So this use of their apparently is very...
Yeah, that's the crazy part. It's not like Dexerto misgendered Riley. Dexerto used a neutral there. And they're going, you misgendered Riley. It's like, oh my... This is why I say these people will never be satisfied. Okay? Correct. It's not disrespectful at all. But the activists in this... I'll be generous and call it fight, even though it's not a fight. The activists don't care. Nothing will ever be good enough. Even if there's capitulation, it's never good enough. If there's capitulation, okay, time to go to the next step. There's capitulation there, time to go to the next step. And it will never be good enough. That's why I tell you, for all of these activists that make demands, say fuck you. Because when you give in to these demands, it will never be enough. They will keep going further, keep going further. They want people to permanently be kneeling before them, kissing their ring on fucking everything. And part of this, I was thinking about this, side tangent, I know you're shocked. Part of this, I think, is because they have put everything into this quote-unquote fight that they're undertaking, that they don't know what the fuck to do if or when they actually win. That's part of the that I think is part of the problem with the activists and why they keep pushing. They don't know what the fuck to do with themselves if they actually succeed. It's basically the dog chasing the car. It's what happens when the dog catches the car that they're chasing. They're like, oh fuck, what do I do now? So they got to keep doing it. And that's I think that's a big part of why these activists keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because it's all they've got. It's how they've classified their identity. This has become their identity. And if they succeed, they have no fucking idea what to do. Their brain is still going, we got to keep fighting. We got to keep fighting, even though they might have won. And so that's why they keep going. That's why that's why these activists turn into the beast that cannot be fed. Because they've got nothing else. They have no other purpose in their life other than continuing to fight these imaginary slights and injustices that have been committed. And when they win, they don't know what the fuck to do. So they just gotta keep going because it basically becomes Alex, that's exactly that's what I was gearing up to say. It's basically become an addiction for them. Fighting against these perceived injustices for these people has become an addiction. It has literally become an addiction for them that they cannot kick. And so they keep going. They jump from one activism to another activism, and they keep going because the activism in and of itself has become an addiction. They're trying to get that dopamine hit from everybody agreeing with them and cheering them on, and maybe sometimes they might succeed on something, and they want to keep getting that dopamine hit. It's become activism. And again, this is not just in specific for these trans activists. This is for all activists. It becomes a literal addiction that they cannot kick. It's just as bad as drinking addiction. It's just as bad as smoking addiction. It's just as bad as drug addiction. It's just as bad as like any other addiction. Activism has literally become a fucking addiction in the modern day. I would not be surprised if it sort of ties into the social media addiction. Yeah, like activism addiction and social media addiction kind of go hand in hand with one another. And Reaper, for some, yes, I'll agree that their addiction is to being a victim. For some people, yes, I'll agree. But for others, Seb, you have the other half of the equation, is that people wanting to feel like they're making a difference in the world. So it's one or the other or both, but it basically is becoming an addiction at this point. And it would not surprise me if we start seeing this in psychology textbooks, where they've already talked about various kinds of addictions. They've already talked about social media addiction. It would not surprise me if there starts to be a discussion about activism addiction. It's why you have all the protesters that don't even know what they're protesting, but they're always out there for whatever cause of the week. Exactly, Luce. Exactly. It's because they just want to basically be a part of a cause and get that dopamine hit from being with other people, screaming and yelling, and having their quote unquote peers gassing them up. So yeah. This is it's an addiction.
Controversial and reason to call Dexerto and anyone who uses this sort of language as a transphobe. This tweet with over 20,000 likes saying Dexerto using he/him or she/her for every other person is there in their recent posts, and then they/theming the trans woman is incredible work.
Okay, Osakas, question. How many fucking trans people do you see on the internet that do she, her, and also they, them? See, again, this is where we're seeing it. They've got to be pissed about something. They have to be insulted or offended on behalf of Riley for something. This is the activism addiction. Here it is, right fucking here.
So referring to this Riley person as they or them, or using their to describe their clips, apparently is transphobic. I mean, I think it's very obvious what they're trying to say here, and that is the narrative and the expectation they're making for everyone. So if you use gender-neutral pronouns for someone who happens to be trans, I guess that is now problematic and transphobic. Now let's go through some
Only
of the
to
other
an
quotes.
activist.
This person saying, Asmongold called for racial genocide and got less hate than this.
Asmongold did not call for fucking racial genocide, you cock gobbler. Asmon was calling out the leadership of, I'm pretty sure it was the Palestinians in Gaza that were fucking over their very own people and saying those leaders should be dealt with. He was not calling for the genocide of an entire people, you dumb fuck. So, as usual, someone that, a Twittervist has no fucking clue what they're talking about and just drank the fucking Kool-Aid that other people have drank the Kool-Aid of other people saying, Asman called for a racial genocide when he didn't do anything of the sort. But it fits their narrative. So, of course, they're going to do it.
42,000 likes. 42,000 sentient human beings.
No
Or
kidding,
possibly
Atanashi. Well, yeah. God, I keep pausing, Brett. Sorry, Rev. Yes, a better example will be quoting Hassan, who does want genocide, but Hassan is the leftist god, at least in these people's eyes. These people slurp and glorp all over Hassan's cock, and so they won't call out Hassan for actually calling for a genocide, because he is like the alt-left Jesus. And so, heaven forbid someone on that side says something poorly about Hassan, because they'll be fucking excommunicated. Reminds me of the Shoe on Head video. She looked at comments about her, and one was, why do we hate her again? Yeah, basically.
42,000 sentient human beings, or possibly bots, liked this tweet. The number one makes a claim that Asmongold never made. I think everyone knows that was not the rhetoric or the exact wording he used, but this idea that this person got less hate, I don't believe that whatsoever. The amount of hate Asmongold got when he was banned on Twitch.
Yeah, Asmon literally had to make a statement after his ban for what he said about the Hamas leaders that he rightly so, took issue with. He actually had to come out and make a statement about it. So, yeah, Ami, fuck you with your statement. Asmon got so much fucking hatred that he actually had to come out and make, in my opinion, a bullshit statement. I don't think he should have made that statement. But he actually had to come out and make a statement. Oh, and Withering Motions, thank you for the follow. For the sub. Thank you for the sub. Oh, and Hallibutter, I missed you. Thank you for the follow also.
For 2 weeks, which, by the way, he got 2 weeks. This person got 1 day. But anyways, here's another narrative people are pushing. This drama is so
Nick,
petty.
he still
like,
didn't call for genocide on that.
Cared if she was not trans. Personally, I've seen a lot of people who are accused of cheating in video games, especially while streaming, getting crazy amounts of attention for the act. But this is the sort of narrative that none of this would have happened unless this person was trans.
I'll disagree with that. I think it got plenty of attention with the cheating alone. I think the trans part, when people started making the fact that Riley is trans an issue, that's when it ramped up. It was already bad, but when people started basically trans baiting, essentially, that's when the narrative ramped up, and it actually went away from allegations of cheating and turned into you're beating up on a trans person. That's what happened. Who knows? Maybe, I'm sure there are maybe theories out there that this was done to try and pull attention away from the cheating allegations and turn it into a trans issue so people might forget about the potential cheating that Riley did. Maybe it was just an excuse for the trans activists to basically just start reading and screaming. I don't fucking know. Could be one, could be both. Who knows? But there was still plenty of attention initially, and it got ramped up on the trans stuff. And Vespasian and Withering Motions, thank you both for the gifteds. I didn't want to interrupt my rant. Thank you so much for the gifteds. Yeah, well, Vera, again, that goes down to the activism addiction. It's that could be synonymous with the white knight syndrome. It's the activist addiction.
And here's one comment saying, banned for cheating in a game. Dude, what is Twitch? The head teacher or something. The ban should come from the game devs, not Twitch Wild. Which is pretty crazy. Again, we're going from, oh, they were cheating to, oh, now we discover they're trans. Oh, now the cheating doesn't even matter. Why would Twitch ban them? Well, Twitch has always banned people who are cheating. And in this case...
See? trying to by turning it into a trans issue, it's deflecting from the cheating. Even this person is like banned for cheating. What the hell? Why is Twitch even doing it? That it should come from the devs. It's very possible that by doing the activism in regards to trans, they're trying to deflect from the allegations of cheating. We see this in fucking politics every goddamn day. We're seeing it to this day, and while the perfect example, while I don't follow this, and I personally don't at this point, I didn't give a flying fuck about it in the beginning, I don't give a flying fuck about it now, but this is like the Epstein bullshit. Where it's people are all going crazy about the Epstein shit. Okay, now something new has popped off, and now the attention is gone away from the Epstein stuff. You got a few people that's still saying, "What about the Epstein stuff?" But it's been deflected. But something else deflects away from that. Same thing here. Started off as cheating, and then you bring up a hot button issue, the transgender thing, and supposedly misgendering, and you're basically doing this because they're trans, and it's deflecting away from the cheating allegations. Same fucking thing.
We didn't see the email. We didn't get any like actual express reason, just community guideline violations. So amidst the timing of when they were being accused of cheating and then the actual ban, you kind of put one and one together in the situation. At least Twitch thought that's what was going on. But here's another example of someone being canceled over this, and this time it's the VTuber Camilla. You can see down here, the screenshot's a little wonky because the tweets have been deleted. This is just a screenshot someone had. So you can see underneath the Dexerto post, Camilla said, "Hope he never comes back." And then this person says, "Hey, Moots, mutuals on Twitter. A lot of you follow this person. Let's get a nice unfollow, huh?" So follow policing is always lame, and they double down on it, saying, if this is a misunderstanding, then I'll delete the post. I hope it's a misunderstanding. And when people ask what's going on, they say transphobic, saying, I hope he never comes back to a girl with a very obvious she, her in bio. And if she didn't know, why say that? I don't think most people, when they see like a viral tweets about like a random streamer accused of cheating, are going to find the person's bio and check out what pronouns they use. I think this was an innocent action by...
Yeah, because, okay, I'm going to point out, if Camilla tweeted based solely on this thumbnail picture, okay, hang on, remember 907, okay, remember 907, chat, if you were to, with zero context whatsoever, and you saw this VTuber, would you know if this was a male or female VTuber? Just based on the image alone, would you know if this is a male or female VTuber? Just based on the thumbnail. No. This, with this style and design, and yeah, Pirate said, well, which one did Camilla respond to? So Camilla was responding to Dexerto. Okay, and Dexerto said there. So if Camilla had no clue who Riley is, no clue whatsoever, and only looked at the image of the VTuber model, it could easily be mistaken as a male model, as a male VTuber model, very easily. It is a very androgynous model. And my guess is Camilla was referencing to the cheating. That's it. But of course, the activists jumping in and going, oh my, we have to do something about this. Viking, when I first saw the model, I saw the tweet. I saw Riley's tweet where she had the category of the most locked in cat girl you've ever seen. So the tweeting question that I saw in passing was her tweet that had the most locked-in cat girl. And that's the tweet I said, okay, so that's it's a female VTuber. If Camilla did not have the benefit of seeing that tweet and only had the dexterity to work with, it's very easy to look at that male model and not know it's a female model and refer to male. Okay, this is likely not a deliberate misgendering. Okay, people love to throw that, people love to make the accusation, oh, you're misgendering. You know what? People can make mistakes when it comes to transgender individuals. They may not know at first glance or at first word that the person is trans male or trans female. And 9 times out of fucking 10, if someone accidentally misgenders a transgender person and a normal, not psychopathic activist responds by going, actually, I'm insert he, she, or whatever there, and then normal initial person will go, oh, okay, sorry, and continue on with the fucking conversation. That is how normal, well-adjusted individuals operate. Normal, well-adjusted individuals do not respond to an accidental misgendering that is not done out of maliciousness by screaming, how dare you misgender me? I fucking hate you. You should die in a fucking volcano because you misgendered me. No. Normal, well-adjusted people don't do that. Normal, well-adjusted people go, actually, it's she. Or actually, it's he. And then a normal, well-adjusted person talking to them goes, oh, sorry, and continues on. The misgendering thing is getting out of fucking control in terms of people's response to it. People are just, they're taking such egregious offense to this that it's almost becoming laughable. And to a degree, it kind of, I hate to say this, but it does kind of beg the question with some individuals that have such a visceral reaction that are they as comfortable being trans as they lend themselves on to be? I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to put down anybody that is trans. But if you fly off the fucking handle because someone accidentally misgenders you and you just dial it go from 1 to 11 because of it, it begs the question of, are you actually comfortable living as a transgendered individual if you are going to have this kind of reaction to a minor error? And again, this is only to these individuals that literally fly straight to violence when this happens. Again, normal, well-adjusted transgender individuals will just offer a mild correction and continue on with their day. Well, crash out. I'm not going to dig into it too much. I am perfectly good with, sorry. I am, as you have obviously noticed from the way I'm talking, I have absolutely zero objection to referring to a transgender person as he or she, depending on how they've transitioned. Why? Because crash out, I want to treat them like a normal human being. I want to give them the respect of a normal human being. Okay? What you're saying is, honestly, that line of thought is a bit poisonous. By saying, like, I'm misgender on purpose, now it's simple, I was raised not to lie. That's being cruel. That's being cruel and callous. It literally costs you nothing if you are speaking with a transgender person and they are acting just like a normal, well-adjusted person and they're not being an activist. key thing here, they're not being a freak show activist. It costs you nothing to treat them like a normal person. There's no reason that you need to basically have such a visceral, combative attitude when dealing with a normal transgender, a normal person, a normal trans person. They're just living their lives as a normal person. They're not trying to convert you and make you trans. They're not trying to convert children like the media likes, like certain media likes to suggest. They're just trying to live their lives as normal people and be happy. So, honestly, I'm not going to say that I think you're a horrible person for thinking that way. I will say that I strongly disagree with your line of thought, and that's it. I very strongly disagree with it, and I would say to just basically ask yourself, why is that the mentality that you're taking? Okay, again, crash out. Again, I'm talking about the normal individual who doesn't think that way. One thing to remember is the average transgender person doesn't think that way. They don't think that the world revolves around that. They don't. Social media is poisoning people's minds, making them think that every fucking transgender person is a ring activist like we're seeing here. That's not true. No, crash out, you're entitled to that opinion. You're entitled to have that opinion. But at the same time, I still say treat them with the respect of a human being that they should have. Okay, regardless of you not thinking it's normal, I'm not going to basically say that you are wrong in every way for thinking that. I'm not going to say that. But at the very least, you can still think that and just give them the respect that they deserve as being a human being. That's what I'm saying, is it's the same thing with religion. You may disagree with another religion, but if the person of that other religion is not basically trying to convert you, trying to inflict violence upon you, well, crash out, then you're dealing with activists. Then the ones that you are encountering are the activists that I'm referring to that I do not agree with. Okay, I have encountered multiple transgender people throughout my life. Okay, I have treated them normally. They have been completely normal individuals. They have not been walking around waving the flag. They have not been screaming about trans rights. They were just acting like normal fucking people. And so I treated them like a normal person. It sounds like all you've been dealing with are activists. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like the most of the people that you have encountered, for whatever reason, based upon where you live or whatever, it sounds like you are dealing with these activists that are constantly screaming about trans rights and acting like the world revolves around them and screaming about the white privilege. It sounds like you have just basically, those happen to be the people that you've encountered. It's not all of them. I'm telling you right now, the majority of them do not operate in that way. And I'm not going to call out anyone specifically because it's not my place to do so, but there are people in my community, in this community, the strays. There are strays that are trans. And I love every fucking one of them. I respect every one of them, and I treat every one of them as just a normal person, which is how you, as an individual, should be. And crash out, I respect that. You treat people how they treat you. I 100% respect that. And that's why I'm saying that by either bad luck or because of location, there happens to be a concentration of these activists that are screaming and reeing and doing all this shit. I 100% I agree with that. I do. But I am telling you that it's not the majority. That the activists that you have encountered that are basically a poison. God, I keep doing that. on the trans community are the minority. They are not the minority. That's all I'm saying. I fully understand and appreciate that it has left a very sour taste in your mouth. I fully understand and appreciate that. Don't fault you for it. But just realize that it's not the majority of people that are trans. Just keep that in mind. As Atsunashi was saying, the loudest of them do the most damage and are the ones that are the most visible.
Comes back to a girl with a very obvious she, her in bio, and if she didn't know, why say that? I don't think most people, when they see like a viral tweets about like a random streamer accused of cheating, are going to find the person's bio and check out what pronouns they use. I think this was an innocent action by Camilla. I don't think Camilla had any idea what this person referred to themselves as, but people picked up the pitchforks. They're looking for a target to dunk on, and that's what happened. But eventually Camilla would apologize, saying, "My bad. I did."
Here we go. I just saw a cheater, not anything else. There it is.
No, I just saw a cheater, not anything else. I'm sorry. This user says, people assumed the worst out of you are mainly trying to find a person to dunk on. You should be good. And Camilla says, Twitter is a scary place. It is diabolical how fast I was accused of being a...
Okay, Don, I'm pausing this so much, but I do want to say this. Hendrix, I get it. I get it. With family, okay. All right, I'm going to disclose something to you guys. I have not talked about this. I have someone in my family who is trans. Okay, so I have personal experience with this. I have a family member. No, that's actually, it's fine. I'm not going to disclose any details. I have someone in my family who is trans. So I'm speaking from experience on this. And Hendrix, I get it. Because when you have known someone for so long, you know, you've been a part of their life. For you, it's your child. You've known them for so long. Getting your brain to reorient itself with their transitioned pronouns or names is difficult. I 100% get that. I still struggle it with myself. I still struggle with myself with the member of my family who is. I get it. And so I'm as long as you are being supportive, that's what matters. You know, defaulting because it's just so ingrained in your brain, understandable, completely understandable. As long as you're being supportive of them the whole time, that's what matters. And I'm guessing that your child understands that, yeah, it's going to take a long time to make those neurological rewirings for them. But as long as you're there for them, as long as you support them and have their back, that's what matters.
You should be good. And Camilla says, Twitter is a scary place. It is diabolical how fast I was accused of being a transphobe over a genuine mistake, especially over the fact that I'm openly pansexual. Which,
I know you are, Hendrix.
I mean, honestly, they would still cancel you no matter what. Even if they would view you as an ally normally, if you say something someone thinks is problematic, all that stuff goes out the window. But you can see people didn't relent. This individual saying, really glad she apologized, but sadly the damage has been done, and this incident will definitely follow her VTuber career for a great while.
No, it won't. This is Camilla. The people that are a part of Camilla's community don't give a fuck. Okay? The day after this Twitter stuff, she probably went on stream, did her usual thing, because Camilla is, dear fucking God, Camilla is a hot little tease. Faye won't give a fuck. And people outside of her community will not give a fuck. They won't care. Leo, I'd say yes. I went from the brief bit that I've seen of Camilla, I'd say yes, maybe as big as Cotton. Maybe. Similar situations happening with two kids that train at my place. I've known them for a while. I respect the decision. I've told them both that it will take a while for it to go into my brain because I've known them for a while before the name change and dinner pronoun change. Yeah, exactly, Dlathe. Exactly. If you've known someone for a long time, that switch in your head can take some time. And they understand it. They understand it.
Her friendship with certain controversial VTubers doesn't help her case either. No, if you're not terminally online, you won't care about this at all, probably. You'll recognize that she just made a response to a viral tweet, and no, this will not follow her VTuber career for a great while. But as asked here, who are the controversial VTubers they're referring to? And they pointed out, it's Fillion and Pippa. And also, they bring...
Fucking really? Really? They're going after Camilla, Fillion, and Pippa. No, they won't. They will not care about it whatsoever. And in fact, if anything, Fillion will make a fucking joke out of it. Fillion might actually farm it to basically make a joke.
Bring in Kirsha as well. Rent-free, as always, and that's the proof that they basically deserve no benefit of the doubt because they associate with people this individual finds problematic. Okay.
Well, of course, Kirsha.
Nice
It's always Kirsha.
Bud. Every day I'm reminded that you flesh sacks have half your population more stupid than the median. Disgusting. What is this person even saying?
Oh, God, someone thinks they're an edgelord. Someone thinks they're an edgelord. Someone thinks they're an edgelord. Oh, God. I wish I had the South Park goth meme on speed dial right now. This is 100% the South Park goth lord edgelord goth meme right now. So, like his pain. Like his pain. All you have to look forward to is death. That's this guy right here.
It's obviously hostile, but a bit unhinged. But of course, there are people who are not crazy about this situation. You see plenty of VTubers all lined up right here in the replies to Camilla's tweets, basically saying you have nothing to apologize for, and these people are looking for anything to try to dunk on and cancel someone, and that's pretty much what's going on here. This whole situation was a mess, to say the least. Another example of people trying to create issues anywhere they can to try to dunk on people on social media. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Now, I mean, yeah, we saw what it was all about. It started off as cheating and then turned into the hot button trans issue probably, and and how many people are even thinking about the cheating thing right now? My guess is very few. My guess is there's very few people that are even thinking about the cheating part, and now it's become all about a trans issue.